The Cavaliers take on the Raptors, 7:30 Monday night, and that is November 28th, 2022. Of course, that is Eastern Time. Toronto's -3, totals 215.5. If you like Cleveland in an upset win on the road here, they're plus $1.30 for some money line cash. I'm 4-0 in my last 4 board member tier package bets on my website, and I'll include a link for today's board member tier package bet in the description section below. Just remember, guys, if you sign up for that package here today, you're going to get access to that membership for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus here, guys, I'm also going to include all my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. Now, I currently have over 630 members who are signed up and active on that site right now. Now, the Cavs are going to have to go to work without Kevin Love and Jared Allen. Having said that, though, the Cavs are still amongst the best three-point shooting teams in the game. They're in the top 3 in making their three-pointers, and they're led by Dean Wade, who's making 43% of his shots from beyond the arc. Meanwhile, Donovan Mitchell, he's drilling 41% of his three-pointers himself, and he's scoring a team-best 30 points a night. Now, they're facing a Toronto team who has a tough time guarding the field goal themselves. These guys are in the bottom 5 in the league in defensive field goal percentage. This is also one of the worst shooting teams in the Eastern Conference. Toronto's in the bottom 10 in the NBA in shooting the 3 ball, bottom 5 in shooting the field goal. When it comes to the injury report, Banton, Champagnie, and Barnes are questionable. Otto Porter is out. Meanwhile, for Cleveland, once again, Love and Allen are out for them. When it comes to the total, Cleveland went 6-3 to the under in their last 9. Meanwhile, Toronto saw unders against the likes of Dallas, Brooklyn, and Indiana. I'm going to lean toward Cleveland +3, under 215.5. Next matchup, it is going to be Thunder, Pelicans, 8 o'clock East. New Orleans is -6, totals 232. And even though the Pels are banged up right now, I still think they should cover here. They're in the top 5 in guarding the three-pointer. They're one of the best defensive rebounding teams in the West. When it comes to offensive production, Zion Williamson's averaging a team-best 22 points a game. Now, Jonas Valanciunas, he's also getting nearly double-digit boards a night. They're facing a Thunder team on the other side who really doesn't play defense well at all. They're actually dead last in defensive boards per contest. They're also allowing more points a game than any other team in the NBA except for one. Now, injury-wise, Muscala's still out for OKC. Meanwhile, for the Pels, Nance, Marshall, and Ingram are questionable. McCollum and Liddell are still out. When it comes to the number, OKC went 90% to the over in their last 10. Meanwhile, New Orleans saw overs against the likes of Memphis, San Antonio, and Chicago. I'm going to lean toward the Pelicans, -6, over 232. Next ball game, Rockets at the Nuggets, 9 o'clock East. Denver's -11.5, totals 229. Now the Nuggets have been lights out shooting the basketball. They're making 40% of their three-pointers as a team. And they're also in the top 3 in shooting from the field. Nikola Jokic averages over 22 points a game, along with 9 rebounds. Meanwhile, Aaron Gordon's making nearly 40% of his three-pointers, and he ranks 2nd on the team in scoring. Now they're facing a Houston squad who allows 116 points a game themselves, and they rank in the bottom 10 in guarding the field goal. And when it comes to offensive production, the Rockets are 2nd to last in shooting from the field. Now, injury-wise, Fernando's questionable, Tate's still out. Meanwhile, for Denver, Highland and Porter are questionable, Green's out for them. When it comes to the total, Denver saw overs against the likes of Oklahoma City, Boston, and Indiana. Meanwhile, Houston went 60% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward Denver, -11.5, over 229. Next ball game, it is going to be Bulls at the Jazz, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Utah's the 2-point favorite, totals 236. And even though they are favored by a basket here, the Jazz may have to go to work without leading scorer Lauri Markkanen. He's currently listed as questionable with knee problems. Meanwhile, as a team, the Jazz are on a 4-game skid, and they also took the loss in 7 out of their last 9. Now, one of their biggest problems is their defensive play. They're allowing 116 points a night, and they're in the bottom 10 in defensive rebounding. They're facing a Chicago team who won 2 out of their last 3 themselves, and they scored over 118 points or more in all of those contests. DeMar DeRozan scoring a team-best 26 points a game. Meanwhile, Zach LaVine's right behind him with 21 points a night as well. And when Chicago goes to the line, well, they certainly make their opponents pay. These guys are in the top 5 in shooting from the stripe. Now, injury-wise, Alex Caruso is questionable for Chicago. Meanwhile, for Utah, Markkanen, Juzang, and Bolmaro are questionable. Conley and Gay are still out. When it comes to the total, the Jazz went 70% to the over in their last 10 outings. Meanwhile, Chicago saw overs against the likes of OKC, Milwaukee, and New Orleans. I'm going to lean towards Chicago +2 over 236. Next contest, Suns at the Kings, 10 o'clock Eastern start time. Phoenix is -1, totals 232.5. Now, the Suns won their last 4 straight, and they're one of the best defensive teams in the game. They're allowing only 107 points per contest, and they're in the top 10 in guarding the field goal. When it comes to scoring points, Devin Booker's averaging a team-best 27 points a game. Meanwhile, Mikal Bridges, he's drilling nearly 47% of his three-pointers. Now, they're facing a Sacramento team who allows over 117 points a night themselves. And they also let their opponents make 50% of their field goals against them. Now, the Kings are in the bottom 3 in guarding the three-pointer. When it comes to the injury report, Sacramento is relatively healthy at the moment. Meanwhile, for Phoenix, Paul, Johnson, and Crowder are still out. When it comes to the total, the Suns saw overs against the likes of the Jazz, Golden State, and Miami. Meanwhile, Sacramento went 6-3 to the over in their last 9. I'm going to lean toward the Suns -1 over 232.5. With that, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the video. It is going to be Pacers at the Lakers, 10:30 Eastern tip-off. Los Angeles is -3, totals 237. And even though the Lakers are favored in this one, LeBron James and Anthony Davis, they're questionable to suit up here tonight. And of course, Pat Bev, he's still suspended. Won't see him in action tonight. But even when these guys are mostly healthy, this is a Laker team who's zero threat at shooting the 3 ball. These guys are in the bottom 3 in offensive 3-point percentage. When it comes to defensive play, the Lakers are in the bottom 3 in grabbing rebounds. Now, they're facing an Indy team who won 7 out of their last 10, and they covered the number in 70% of those contests. Now, the Pacers are also having little issue getting on the scoreboard. They're averaging 116 points a game, and they're led by Tyrese Halliburton, who's scoring nearly 20 points a game. Now, Benny Mathurin, he's making over 42% of his shots from 3 land himself. When it comes to the injury report, RJ Nembhard's questionable for Indy. Daniel Tice is still out. Meanwhile, for Los Angeles, once again, AD and LeBron are questionable. Pat Bev is still out. When it comes to the total in this one, the Lakers went 4-3 to the over in their last 7. Meanwhile, Indy saw overs against the likes of Brooklyn, Charlotte, and Denver. I'm going to lean toward the Pacers +3 over 237. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our quick pick recap. I like Cleveland +3 under 215.5. Give me the Pelicans -6 over 232. I'm 4-0 in my last 4 board member tier package bets on my website. Just a reminder, guys, if you sign up for my board member tier package bets, you're going to get access to that package for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all my cheaper personal bets absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. Give me Denver -11.5 over 229. Chicago +2 over 236. Phoenix -1 over 232.5. And with my next and final free pick, give me the Pacers +3 over 237.